You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
And today on our Weight Loss Wednesday, we're going to talk about a pretty popular subject. It's an unfortunate one at that, and that's because too many people right now are struggling with their weight. And it's not just right now, right? This has been happening for decades, or if not 100 plus years. Really, I would say since the advent of us sitting more than we stand during the day, and also the access to just processed food. So before, it's been a couple hundred years where we've had pretty good access to food. Like, I shouldn't say everywhere, of course, in most industrialized nations. And even before, there was certainly some processed food, but it was bread baked fresh that day, and it was a few, other processed things like that. But we certainly didn't have the box goods, the bagged goods, the pastries on the run, all those things, even just a couple hundred years ago. But now we do, and the issue is just it is a non-stop ability to eat, and that becomes a real issue, especially for people who are going through highs and lows. Not only, I would say, in energy throughout the day, but also highs and lows in emotions. Because, truthfully, when you're down, most people want a snack. There are so many reasons behind that. One is when you're eating something, it's also taking your mind off what you're thinking, but it also produces a lot more of those neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine that we enjoy, that make us feel good, that calm our body down, especially when they are carbohydrate-based. It also cuts cortisol. So there are reasons why our body does this. But here's the issue. When we're looking to lose weight and keep it off, it becomes a real problem. I mean, that's the truth. So many people struggle with it because the temptations are so great. It is everywhere all around us. And that's what I want to talk about today. Now, do some people fluctuate in weight over the course of a day? Absolutely. And I just want to get that, right away out of the way. And that's this. When you wake up in the morning, you probably haven't consume any water for the last 8 hours, and you probably didn't have that much water for a couple hours before bed. So now if you were in bed for 8 hours, hopefully you were, plus 2 hours before that, that's 10 hours. By the time you wake up, that's 10 hours or more without drinking any real fluid. So your body's going to be slightly dehydrated. A lot of people like the way they look first thing in the morning. They feel like they look leaner. They feel like they're not puffy at all. They're not bloated at all. And those are different topics for another day, having to do with bloating. But, the truth is that you're going to put on a little bit of weight throughout the course of a day. Around 1% is completely normal. And the reason is this, let's keep in mind, your body is 2/3 water, approximately, right? So if your body's approximately 2/3 water and you weigh 150 pounds, well, let's look at it this way. 1% change is only 1.5 pounds. So if you put on 1.5 pounds to 3 pounds during the course of a day, from when you wake up to when you step on the scale before bed, don't be surprised about that. 1 to 2%, totally normal. You put on 5%, well, that's a different story. You're dealing with food sensitivities, with digestive-based issues, with inflammatory foods, with inflammation in general. Now, that's a real problem. You don't want to gain, again, 4 or 5% of your body weight over the course of that day, but I know people who can easily gain 5 to 7 pounds. That's far too much. You shouldn't gain that much. Either you're chronically dehydrated, or really there's a problem with inflammation and food sensitivities as well. Of course, all of those things can be looked at. You can look at, candida overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth, SIBO. Again, a million things you could look at. Not really a million, more like a dozen. All right, so let's get into it. So really, what can we do about this? Not necessarily the normal, 1.5 to 2% or so weight gain during the day, but why do so many people fluctuate in weight? And here's the real issue. Here's the problem, is that they're looking to every single diet plan, every single nutrition plan, every single cleanse, every single detox. Yes, even the Dr. Cabral detox that I talk about is not supposed to be your cure-all. Okay, I want to be this really specific because I am not a marketer. I'm not someone who's looking to push anything down on you. And here's the thing. Here's why. you have to understand that when people ask me a question, will I keep the weight off after the Dr. Cabral detox? And I say, absolutely if, and then I give the if you start changing your nutrition, if you start doing the morning smoothie like I talked about, if you start eating closer to a healthy nutrition plan, and then do 1 cheat meal a week, and if you can maintain with that weight, great. And then we do 2 cheat meals a week, and if you can do 2 cheat meals, can you do 3? Well, we just kind of see, what does your body tolerate? Because remember, there's this whole thing called bioindividuality. I don't know how sensitive your body is, and your body can become far more sensitive, or even maybe we can look at it in terms of insulin sensitivity. So can you handle carbohydrates better in the future? Yes. Meaning like for 3 months or 4 months, maybe you can only do 1 cheat meal. And then in, let's say that 4 months goes by, that 120 days where those red blood cells are turning over, can you do 2 cheat meals? Well, maybe then in 4 months you can. And then maybe in a year, can you do, every other day, or can you do 3 times a week? Maybe. It really depends on your body. And that's the maybe. But here's the issue is, if someone asks me, will I keep the weight off? Yes, absolutely. Except if you say, well, I'm just going to do it for a week and I'm going to lose 5 to 10 pounds on something like just, my specific detox. Great. You'll maintain that. Maybe you gain 1 pound. That's it. Or you'll gain it all back if you go back to eating a muffin in the morning, cereal with your orange juice. For lunch, you're doing a sandwich. Of course, you're going to gain it back. You're going to gain it back on anyone's plan. So I want to give you the solution at the end, but I don't want you to feel bad about yourself, because that's not the thing. We all go through this. I relapsed. I can't even tell you how many times I relapsed when I was trying to get well. And the reason is I kept thinking I could do what my previous self was doing, and that wasn't the case. And that takes a little while to learn. That's all mental. That's not physical. The physical part comes, and then you have to mentally break past those barriers to say, you know what? If I want to change, if I want my body to change, something in my life has to change as well, because I can't keep doing the things that I've been doing that have got me to where I am right now, right? So if you're a cereal in the morning, or if you're a muffin type of person, you enjoy your pastries with your coffee, okay, that's what you can do, but that's not going to lead to a life of wellness or weight loss. It just isn't. Those are not wellness, weight loss, anti-aging based things. Why? Because they're inflammatory. Why? Because they have dairy, they have gluten in them, they have oils in them. None of those things are healthy. We know they're not healthy. Are they tasty? Yes. Chemically, they're actually concocted to be tasty. Remember, when you add salt and when you add fat together, that is an amazing taste. Just think about this. How many people love chips? Not just for the crunch, the texture, but for the salt and the fat added together. Even put in a little bit of sugar. Those things, that's why McDonald's French fries and those types of French fries are so addictive. Really challenging to just eat one. And those have been scientifically and chemically placed together along with the smells of them as well to really get you addicted to them and to make it really difficult to eat one chip. I know myself, I can't eat one chip. There's just no way. And I enjoy chips, so I just can't keep them around me. I just don't. Why have those temptations? But here's the thing. Here's the big thing that we have to understand is I want you to be fully aware that doing a cleanse, a detox, a nutrition plan, all of those things are healthy. And even if you don't keep the weight off, I want you to look at it like this. You are on a journey. You are learning the things that you need to do, because usually no one aces it. No one gets it right the very first time. And that's because, again, it's really more mental than anything else. Physically, you can put yourself through this. Physically, you can do it. People tell me all the time, I don't like to eat vegetables. Okay, well, that's a mental thing. This is an inanimate object. They are vegetables on your plate. Can you eat them? Yes or no? Yes, you can. You just don't like to, and that's because your taste buds, your sensitivity, and also the emotions that go along with them and the foods that you'd rather have been conditioned. It takes 6, 7, or 10 times, really, even having a couple bites of those foods as we start to change our taste buds. The same with children. Children need to start eating the vegetables from a very young age, so they just get used to it. They don't know any other thing, and their taste buds have been conditioned to those things. As adults, we can absolutely do that as well. So am I saying do a weight loss nutrition plan that, remember, health first, right? So a functional medicine-based plan, elimination-based plan, something like, our Fatlocity diet plan or the Dr. Cabral detox or, any one of those things, a healthy one, right? Because you're learning the process. And then after that, can you get one thing to stick? Meaning, can you then transition to the morning smoothies, with our daily support shake? Can you do that? Or no, maybe that's not for you because you're just not there yet. You like to have, an omelet. You like to have some whole foods in the morning. Okay. Well, then what can you do? What can you change? Can you change your lunch or can you change your dinner? Try to at least change one thing. That's the big thing. So yes, any of these plans that are health-based absolutely can then allow you to keep the weight off and continue losing weight. That's why, I have to just kind of jump back and forth because there's just so much information that I'm trying to convey to you. But the reason why working with a personal trainer, I understand this podcast goes out to people all over the world, and we're not going to be able to work with every single person out there. I understand that. But I want to share with you what does work. When someone comes to work with our personal training team, what happens is they have a partner with them for at least 12 weeks. Our minimum package basically that we do is 12 weeks. And that's because we need them to dedicate themselves to their new healthy lifestyle for that amount of time. We know that we're going to be able to get them into a good exercise program. We're going to be able to get them in a good nutrition program, but also we're going to be looking over their shoulder. We're going to make sure that we can tweak things a little bit for them, absolutely, but we also want them to know that there's an accountability partner, there's all of these things. And that's sometimes, again, one of those factors that people need. You can work with our nutrition coach, of course, online as well, but at the same time, maybe you already have a friend who wants to go through this as well. I just find that's just so fantastic, but the friend has to be fully committed just like you're fully committed. And when the two of you commit to each other and you say, we're not going to let each other down, because you know what? Even when times get tough, we want to go back to eating how we were eating, we can call the other person, we can text the other person, and hopefully at that moment, they're stronger than we are. And when they're stronger than we are, they can support us. And then likewise, if we seem to be faltering or they seem to be faltering, we can pick them up. I just think that that's so important. We really all do need another person to support us. But the other thing is, if you don't have that person, you can't afford a personal trainer or anything like that, you can do what I did when I was younger, when I wasn't doing well, when, again, I saw a lot of different doctors and I used a lot of different nutritional supplements and I paid for a lot of tests, but that came in waves because I couldn't always afford it, all the time. That's just the way it was. So what did I turn to? I turned to books, and again, they cost like $10. I read even more at my college library as well. But then I started just to invest. I went on, and Amazon was popping up then, so I used to buy just so many books from Amazon, and I would follow it. And those books really became my support system, my mentor in a way, because I read about it and I saw these doctors, and I know these doctors were helping people get great results. Or maybe they weren't a doctor, but they were a great health practitioner and they knew how to help people as well. And I would follow that plan and I would get results. And maybe I would relapse. I'm not saying that I was perfect either, but I would start to move closer and closer to my goals. And that really is what it's all about. And so let's wrap this up. Let's pull this together a little bit. My recommendation for you is this. If you're doing something like the Dr. Cabral Detox, and again, you can do any program you want. I want to really let you know that if you have a functional medicine doctor and they're like, you know what, this is the one that you should be doing, good, do that. If you have a friend who's really into a program and it's a health-based program, then good, do that with them as well. Just make sure it's health-based. What is health-based? It means that, you're really not on a fad-based diet, right? The whole nutrition plan includes carbohydrates, fats, and protein. It doesn't just completely eliminate any one of those. What I want you to do is I want you to choose that, but it will help you lose weight, right? I mean, most people I know who come into my practice, they're doing something and it can help them lose some weight in the short term. But what I want you to think about is this. What are you going to do after it's over, right? So you can do a 7, a 14, a 21-day Dr. Cabral Detox. You can do a 21-day plan of someone else's, or maybe if it's a longer one, maybe it's like, 42 days, or maybe it's 6 weeks, or if those are two the same, right? Or maybe it's 12 weeks. But here's the thing. What are you going to do after that? That's the question I want you to ask yourself, because weight loss can be a roller coaster, and it's up and down. It's only because there's no plan for after the specific cleanse, detox, elimination, diet, you name it, come to mind. What are you doing after that? What's the plan after that, right? You can't go back to your old ways. So what are you going to switch? My recommendation is this, is whatever plan you're on, hopefully it's a good long-term plan, like it's teaching you lifestyle-based, right? So that's why, when I talked about, I'm just going to give you right now exactly what it is. The Dr. Cabral Detox, it's you're doing a shake in the morning, you're doing a vegetarian vegan lunch, you're doing a shake in the afternoon, and then you're doing a really customized dinner, meaning like if you don't need to lose weight, then you can add in more sweet potatoes or yams or different things like that. If you're looking to lose weight, well, then you're going to have more vegetables, healthy fat, and protein. Again, it's all written on exactly on drcabraldetox.com, and you can see it. I do that for free because I want to teach other practitioners and I want to teach other people how to do it. So, okay, that's the plan. You already know how to do it. Okay, so now just think about this. You're easing out of it, right? So I want you to think about, you're doing this, it's going to work. You're going to lose weight. Okay, so now what can I do? Okay, I'm going to stick with the shakes every morning because that's easy. I can just take it and go. It doesn't cost me really any money, a couple dollars for breakfast. That's so inexpensive. Can I keep my vegetarian lunch going? Yes, I can do that. What about an afternoon shake? Well, I may not be able to do two. Okay, so maybe that's when you substitute nuts or you substitute a cup of berries or a green apple or something like that. And then for dinner, maybe then you're going to add in a little bit more starch. Maybe you are adding in some sweet potato or different things like that. And then you're also doing one cheat meal a week. Like I'm just showing you as an example, that's how you can start to ease out of it, right? But don't just stop. You can't go back to your old ways because your old ways weren't working. That's so really and just critically important that no program will work if you just stop at cold turkey. And that's the bottom line, because what you're doing before was most likely causing inflammation in your body. And when you cause inflammation, your body retains water weight. Does it really put on a ton of body fat? No, but you look like it. Your body gets puffy, it gets swollen, and you literally retain this thing that I call toxic water weight. And it is simply toxic water weight because you're inflamed, you're not feeling well, your body's not balanced. So my goal for you is this. Let's get off the weight loss roller coaster. I want you to pick any plan, whatever plan that you feel works well for you, that you can commit to, but then also that you can see the light when you finish it of how you can transition. You're not following that diet fully, but what you're doing is you're not going back to your old lifestyle fully either. You're trying to integrate a happy medium between the two. And what I always say, if your goal is weight loss, you're doing a Monday and Friday weigh-in. And what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you've lost weight from Monday to Friday and haven't gained it back all over the weekend as well, because then you can see, if you did multiple cheat meals, then that's not working for you. I don't want to give away everything all in one podcast or make this too long, but please do let me know if you have questions. I see so many people suffering with losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight. And of course, we call that the yo-yo diet. And I just, really desperately want to help those people because I know that there's a solution for them. There really is. And I've seen it. I've seen it work over and over. The problem is I want them to understand, and I want you to understand, and anyone that you know that this may help, that eventually you do have to understand that this is a lifestyle change, that we need more vegetables in our diet, that we need, yes, more fruit in our diet and low glycemic and berries and those types of things. And that we have to really not go on any trendy, fad-based diets that aren't going to work in the long term or that aren't going to teach us how to eat well for life. And so hopefully that makes sense. And again, please let me know if I can answer additional questions for you. I'd be happy to do that. Have a great day, everyone, and I will talk with you soon.
Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests, or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.